Welcome to part two of chapter 19 Nutrition for FVA Essentials of Healthcare. Last we left off, we talked about our macronutrients, but now we're going to talk about our micronutrients. We need these in smaller quantities, but they are definitely important for proper cell function. And these are going to be minerals, vitamins, and fiber. So, the key difference between minerals and vitamins is that minerals are inorganic chemical elements that can be found in food, but you're talking about iron, maybe magnesium. And then vitamins are organic compounds that are fat and water soluble. And so these are going to be like vitamin A, D, E, K, B, C. You've probably heard these before. Now, I put these pictures of these X-Men and stuff up here because a lot of these help us grow and develop, and like this girl right here called Medusa, she from the Inhumans, she has really long hair. Well, there's lots of growth from vitamins and minerals that let our hair grow. Bone development is important. So kind of think of them as like our human superpowers, basically. Minerals and vitamins help us develop them. Now you can see down here some of the mineral rich foods, and it really looks like a whole lot of vegetables, tomatoes, carrots, zucchinis, broccoli. And so we do get a lot of our minerals from green leafy things. Legumes, there's another example as well. Your vitamins, you can see it looks like it's just a bunch of healthy food, but there is fruit, there is vegetables, nuts, carrots, seeds, tuna fish, salmon is really good, and so is milk for vitamin D. So basically, in your diet, it's the healthier foods. But this is why they're healthy because they do give us the minerals and vitamins that our body needs. Now, fiber, this really helps to control cholesterol and blood sugar and add bulk to our stool. So our poops look the way they do when we do have a healthy amount of fiber in our diet, and that helps to move the stuff through our intestines, kind of like this little torpedo shape, if you will. Now, we were talking about calories in the last PowerPoint or lecture, and we were mentioning calories and how much we're supposed to eat. Well, a calorie is really the amount of energy needed to raise 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius, and it's really measured as like the energy contained in our food, so that when we do digest the nutrition we're eating, every calorie is like burning energy. Okay. Now we have recommended daily amounts, and we also have limits. So when you look at this nutritional fact label for Doritos, you'll see it says 150 calories per serving. And in this bag, it says about 18 servings per container. So this 150 is only 12 chips. Okay, that is 150 calories. Now, the percentages that you see, this is the daily value percent, the amount within a serving that contributes to our daily values in certain areas. So you can see fat, right, is 8 grams. If we're thinking of our diet being 2,000 calories, which is the average recommended daily amount, this one serving size is 10% of our total fat that we should have a day. Okay, but if you have 24 chips, and that's going to be 20% of your total fat. So you can see how quickly that can rise. All right. Right down here, I put some of the food components, the measurement of the unit of measurement, and then the amount we're supposed to have if we're above 4 years old. Literally, when you're a kid, you can eat probably anything in your body. Just as like, hey, my metabolism's that fast, it doesn't matter. But soda, you'll see, has from sugar 31 grams of sugar. This is a Mountain Dew. And I love going out and about looking like these guys and getting a Baja Blast from Taco Bell. That's one of my favorite sodas. I just know that it has a lot of sugar. And if you look down here where it says our, daily recommended value of added sugar should only be 50. If I have one of these, I'm already at 31. I'm almost at my daily value with just one sugar or one soda that has sugar. So if I have two of them and eat like candy or something later on, I am well above my added sugar for the day. I put this picture here because I love, chicken sandwiches, and does show that Chick-fil-A is actually one of the healthiest options. Is it healthy? Probably not, but it's one of the healthiest options at 420 calories for that Chick-fil-A sandwich. Raising Cane's, on the other hand, they're at 780 calories, and Popeyes, 700 calories. And the amount of fat that's in it, too, is a lot. So you can see that the recommended is 78 grams, and this is already at 42 right there. So that is a lot towards our daily values. Now, your basal metabolic rate is the measure of total energy used by the body to maintain those body processes necessary for life. So, my basic, like, smallest amount of calories I should be consuming every day, based off my height, 37 inches, my age, 38, and my weight of currently 192, I could survive off of 1,200 or almost 1,300 calories. But you also have to think about your activity level. I'm a teacher, right? And I teach, I'm on my feet, I'm walking around, we do lab a lot. So I do feel tired at the end of the day, and I do usually hit 10,000 steps every day. But if you think about a bus driver, they're sitting down the whole time, right? Like, that would be something different than what I'm doing. And then students, well, y'all are always tired looking like this, but it's honestly because your body needs more energy. And if you don't feed it, it's going to look like this and you're going to be tired. So every single activity level and age is a little different. But I do like to intermittent fast, and I do like to keep my calories in a deficit. So this does make sense for me. Now, body mass index, or also known as BMI, this is how we measure the actual fat on our body, not just weight in total. And there's a couple different ways to do it. I think this is really funny that if you go to a gym, they give you these little devices to hold, and you hold it out, and it's supposed to like send a biomagnetic pulse through your body. That's a bunch of BS, y'all. What's also BS is this equation to calculate your BMI. It says your weight in kilograms times your height squared, or divided by height squared. And this whole equation gave me a BMI of 30, which technically, considering 30 is right there, I would be obese. Now, I can tell you right now, I ain't obese. I work out, I eat right, I definitely don't have a lot of soda, and I definitely don't look obese. So there's a couple other ways to do this more accurately. And here is the Jackson Pollock Foresight Skin Fold Test for women and men. And what this does is you actually pinch the skin and you get a nice level of what the fat is in certain areas. And you measure that width and put into a big equation. You get a lot more accurate number. If I did this way and took the pinches where men usually accumulate their fat, I would probably be in the overweight, maybe normal weight range. You could see women and men have different spots, okay? Now, the best way to get your BMI is this little chamber with this little person in there, and this really takes in consideration all the tissue, all the pressure. There's a way to do it underwater too, and this has always been the most accurate. But if you want the best common ground, because these machines are really expensive, the Foresight Skin Fold Test right here in men and women is really the best way to measure exactly that fat in certain areas. But not everyone accumulates the same way, like I said earlier, but this is the best way. All right, so when you're thinking about dietary guidelines, right, you really want to choose a variety of foods, fruits, and vegetables daily. Remember, we get vitamins and minerals from that, okay? If you drink alcoholic beverages, you should do so in moderation. Um, this does generate a lot of fat as well. You've probably heard of a beer gut before, so that will get turned into fat, and then we know it's harder to burn off. You should be choosing a variety of grains. And then if you do choose a diet, think about less trans fat. I put some options up here. In the corner, you see the Mediterranean diet, or not the Mediterranean, sorry. You see the intermittent fasting, and I really enjoy that because I don't feel guilty about eating something later on. I do feel like I can eat what I want, and then I don't like I can have a little sweet treat because I reduced how many calories I ate. Now the Mediterranean diet is right here. This has got a lot of good oils, olives, healthier foods. Carnivore is up here, and this guy tried to make it famous, but he's on steroids. The Liver King, if you know. But again, there's too much meat, and that will probably raise cholesterol. And then down here, these are actually the top three probably healthiest fast food options if you are going to eat out. Chipotle is great, Cava is great, and then Chick-fil-A is also another option. Um, but the real word to get into your head is moderation. And I like this because it says everything in moderation, including moderation, because I do think that um, you do deserve a break. So when on the weekends, I usually don't intermittent fast, but I like to work out and eat what I want. But during the week, I try to stay strong. And then when I get to the weekend, I kind of break off that moderation. Now, there is something called organic foods, but we usually consider natural and organic the same thing, but they're not. Think about Superman and Bizarro. So, natural, all natural means anyone can use this label, it's not regulated. And this is kind of like the Bizarro, okay? They can still use ingredients from nature that are considered natural, but they can still process them. And so natural doesn't necessarily mean organic. Organic means that is regulated by the USDA with strict requirements. So think of this as your Superman. It's not using any growth hormones that could be found in nature or antibiotics that are allowed. And the livestock must be fed organically and treated humanely. So organic is actually healthier than all natural because people can still they can say it's natural, but they can do some different things to it. And the USDA organic stuff gets inspected, and companies can handle this, must be certified. I do like these bottom things here. Eggs are really expensive right now. They're a great source of protein and a really healthy option to a lot of diets, but unfortunately, they're expensive as can be. You see this bowl down here. This is definitely a sign of a not organic, but all natural bowl where it's pumped full of steroids. And then there's actually meat that's being grown in a lab somewhere, and it's not organic. It's not. It's some other kind of sci-fi thing. And on this label, I thought this was interesting. It says, "Please do not overcook." I mean, if I have space meat here, I think my number one goal is to cook it all the way through because I'd be worried if it was a little raw. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that that says, "Please don't overcook." All right, so to prevent food poisoning, there is a lot of illnesses and food-borne germs, but the number one illness causing bacteria is salmonella. It comes from chicken. I thought it was interesting to learn that a lot of us get salmonella from actually washing our chicken. And you might say that's crazy, but you look at this dirty sink, right? If you wash your chicken in your sink and then you go cook it, you don't really need to wash it because when you cook your chicken, everything will get killed on it, right? It's going to be hot enough that it kills everything, and as long as it's white in the middle, then everything's been cooked. But when you wash your chicken and it gets in here, it could touch another pot, it could be on the side of the sink, and if you put your hand there and then go to some other kind of food or something splashes out of there, now you're talking about cross contamination. This bacteria is around the sink, and that's how people get salmonella. Not from just putting their chicken directly in boiling water or in the stove or whatever, but actually from washing it. But you should know that hand washing really helps a lot. Proper storage and handling would be good too. Make sure all your surfaces and utensils are clean. And then cook it thoroughly. So all these things need to be cooked thoroughly. I love to eat leftovers as an adult, and my wife and my daughter hate leftovers unless it's like pizza. But once a leftover is left out for 2 hours, technically you should be throwing it away. And obviously, anything that's expired in your fridge should be thrown away as well. So when we get older, obviously our nutrition and digestion differs a little bit. So the chronic or the factors that affect our diet is we get tired, we get sick, and so people want to eat a little bit differently. Our mood changes too. And so we might prefer different foods. We might be taking lots of medication. Our teeth start to fall out, so we might need to eat something different. And the saddest one is maybe dementia starts to set in where your body literally starts to forget how to eat, how to digest food, how to get that nutrition from food. And I know that there's lots of habits that seniors actually will start to develop, like the senior early bird special at Golden Corral. I used to work at Golden Corral, and they used to love it because it was cheap. So there's a lot of different things that will affect the elderly and their diet. Now, eating disorders we must talk about because it does involve digestion, nutrition. The number one is obesity. Technically, look, this is the picture of me probably when I'm at my heaviest, like 206, and I still don't look like this obese person over here. So the fact that my BMI was considered 30, I think there's something wrong with the system, or the number needs to be, raised. But obesity is just not keeping check of your own weight and eating a lot and having a lot of leftover fat. Anorexia nervosa and bulimia, these are two psychological disorders where there is an abnormal fear of becoming obese. There's a distorted image process in the brain. And anorexia nervosa, you'll start to see the person look skinny, maybe eating alone, because they're not really eating. They're not consuming the necessary nutrients for their body. You could see stress fractures occur. You could see other injuries like that. And then bulimia is, a psychological disorder, but the person will actually eat and purge them and then purge themselves later. So that means vomiting, induced vomiting, to lose weight. They're not really getting the nutrition they need, but they get to eat and enjoy whatever they want. And then when they vomit all the time, you'll see cavities in their mouth because stomach acid's coming up. They'll have ulcers, burns in their esophagus or mouth. We talk a lot about these images that have women in them, but men are also subject to eating disorders. So we got to change that stigma in society. And wrestlers are one of the most notable, or UFC fighters too, are the most notable athletes in male sports that actually will try to maybe stop eating to make weight. And so they always need to be on someone's radar. Now, when we talk about disorders or diseases, we really want to mention vitamin deficiencies. So, scurvy, I believe, is a vitamin D. Um, what's it called? Vitamin D deficiency, where someone can actually start having like teeth fall out, scratches in their scalp. They could have impaired wound healing, hair loss, and this would happen from not getting enough sunlight. But a lot of people do have vitamin D deficiencies. And you can see that there's tons of listed deficiency symptoms: weakness, muscle pain, headaches, diarrhea. And basically, what's happened is your body processes aren't working well because they don't have the vitamins they need. And so, a way to counteract any one of these vitamin deficiencies is to actually have a supplement. Now, supplements aren't regulated, but if you look at very, I guess, well known vitamins like Nature Made, these would be the healthier option. And these are really for people that, even though they eat balanced foods or foods that are high in the vitamins that they're missing, they need extra. And so this would help someone get extra vitamins and try to counteract the bad side effects they're having. Now, when you talk about mineral deficiencies, yes, there are supplements that people can take as well. And then again, you can eat certain foods, and you can see them all listed right over here, like shrimp for iodine, iron. You could eat, it looks like chocolate, cool. And then calcium, some leafy greens or broccoli. So there are definitely foods that you can get, but some signs of the deficiencies is going to be, again, fatigue, weakness, hair loss, and these are definitely signs of certain for iron deficiency, but you can see them across mineral deficiencies. And let's see if you remember which blood condition is related to low iron. Does anyone remember? Anemia. So a sign of anemia could be low iron deficiency, and then I would make sure they're eating maybe chocolate, maybe some meat, and maybe even taking a supplement to help as well. Thank you.